Hey, I'm Scott, and this is the Vilta-M Pro. Just kidding. But wouldn't it be just like epically terrible if I just did all of my test footage of a McDonald's bag? McDonald's, feel free to sponsor me. Alright, so I came to this place that me and my family go. It's a temple. It's really cool. It's on top of a mountain. It has a nice view. The architecture itself is really cool. So I came here to kind of test out. I've already tested it out, but to kind of officially test out this gimbal. But first, before I get into anything about the gimbal itself, something I want to get out of the way is the fact that yes, it's going to stabilize your footage. So many people always ask, does this stabilize it better than blah blah blah, or does that stabilize it better than this? And the answer is that in all of my use of all the different smartphone gimbals that I've used, none of them ever really significantly did better or worse than the other in terms of pure stabilization. Now, something that the Vilta-M and now the Vilta-M Pro do well, as well some other gimbals, is the way that they react to your movement. The speed that they react, the smoothness that they react with, things like that. And also, of course, the extra functions and features built into it are going to be much more important. All of these gimbals are going to get your footage stable enough that post-production stabilization is not going to have to work too hard to get you rock steady footage. But if you're one of those people that are going to ask, does this stabilize my footage? Yeah, it does just as well, or better, or whatever, the same as any other gimbal that I've personally used, and that's not what you should be worrying about. So like I said, this is the Vilta-M Pro, which means that there was a non-pro version, and I said in my review of that, and I still believe that that's one of my favorite gimbals in the market. It's just made really, really well. It feels great in your hand. The response, like I said, to your actual movement is really, really nice and smooth and natural. Everything about it was great. It wasn't full of all the different bells and whistles that a lot of the other gimbals had, but it just was really, really solid. And this kind of continues that tradition. I do honestly feel like the original Vilta-M was built a little bit better than this, but this is still one of the better feeling gimbals on the market. And it has a couple of these locks built in on almost all of the axes except for this pan axis right here. So you can lock all of that in place. So it's easy to transport it. One of them just came loose right now. But it's really easy to transport. So they have those locks built in, which is really cool when you're carrying it around, because they did cheap out on the case in this case. No pun intended. But there is only a styrofoam case here. And I don't know if that's final because this is a pre-production version. But at least for me, I don't have a fancy case for it. So I'm carrying it around like this a lot of the time. I also love that the arms here can fold down, even fully extended, so you don't have to readjust it every time. When you take it out and put your phone in, you can just start going. You don't have to balance it every time as long as nothing changes. You can also flip the clip vertically, so if that's your sort of thing, you got it here. So there are definitely a couple of things in here that are really cool and great to have. It has wireless charging, which it didn't have before. It has a wheel built in that you can reprogram to do quite a few different things, and there's just a lot of buttons on here that can help you to access and navigate through the menus. I'm so used to touching the phone itself, but it's nice to have those built into here, and I think they did it in a really great way that doesn't kind of compromise the design just for the sake of having a lot of buttons on there. I was originally hoping to come out here and do a nice cool time lapse over the city. You can see, the ocean. It's a really nice view, but there's no clouds in the sky. There's really nothing moving that would actually make it a significant time lapse. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and do like a hyperlapse, I guess it's called. Just do a time lapse as I'm walking back from here to my car. But the motion time lapse in here, for example, is really, really good. It's the same as on the Vilta-M. You get the same app pretty much, and it has been updated a little bit, but the motion time lapse controls are really, really intuitive and really, really easy to use with, a lot of really great control. So just like everything else, it's going to come down to the app. But the app here is still very strong, just as I said before when I made my initial review of the Vilta-M and that app that goes along with it. So instead of a time lapse, I just shot a nice panorama of the city instead, and while looking through the menu for that, I remembered that this does also have the dolly zoom function now, which is pretty cool. You saw that in a couple of other gimbals recently, and it works pretty well. So I already shot a few of those samples, so I'll go ahead and show those now instead of taking the time to do it now because it's really, really hot. But I'll show you those, and it works really cool, like I said. So it's nice that they built that into here too. This really is chock full of pretty much all the features you could want, and they packed it into something that's pretty similar to the original Vilta-M, which I really loved in terms of form factor and feel. This is a little bit larger, and the small size of the Vilta-M was something that I really liked about it. However, this is still fairly compact, and it's going to be smaller than a lot of the other gimbals. There is a nice rubber grip on the handle that I really like, but I do wish that they had it on both sides. This Pro version also does come with a mini tripod, which a lot of the gimbals in the market do, but the original Freevision Vilta-M did not. Ooh, good catch. So of course, there's still the question from the title of this video, did the best get better? There's no question that this has pretty much all the features built in that you could possibly want. It's not quite a folding design, and it is a little bit larger than the original Vilta-M, but you know, it has all of those buttons, it has two wheels technically, it has locking arms, it has a whole lot built into it, wireless charging. I mean, what more could you really ask for? Some of the buttons could be a little bit more clearly labeled, sure. Compared to the original Vilta-M, the quality of the materials could be a little bit better, sure. So no, it's not perfect, but neither was the original Vilta-M, but I still said that was my favorite gimbal on the market, and it still is. And this Pro version is no different. It's not perfect, but I think it's still up at the top. And the only difference I think is between the number of features that it has to offer. If you don't need all of that and you want a more compact size, I'd say that still going for the Vilta-M, the original, is a very good choice. But if you do want more options, you want the wheel, you want the buttons, all of that good stuff, wireless charging, then yes, this is definitely a better version of the Vilta-M. It's a lot of the same, but you know, just the Pro version, of course. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Do you need to upgrade from the Vilta-M? Like I said, ask yourself if you need all those features. That's the bottom line, and that's the only thing. But either way, one of these two gimbals, I'm not pointing them. There we go. This is really weird. I look like a chicken. God, I feel like I'm flying. One of these. I believe I can fly. One of these two gimbals is going to be the best choice for you, in my personal opinion. If you want to see my videos on the original Vilta-M, click the link in the video description below. If you have any questions about the Vilta-M Pro, let me know that down there as well, and I will do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible. If you liked this video or found it helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to see more in the future, and hit the little bell icon to get notifications when new content is uploaded. As always, thank you for watching. Alright, we're done.